All right, everyone, get in here, sit down, and shut up. We've got stuff to talk about. And of course, that stuff is Week 8 of the NFL season. Week 7 is done. I got 4 wrong. We went 11-4, 68-40 on the season. So not doing too bad there, but hopefully we're going to continue to do just as good as we did, if not better. The 4 games, honestly, Steelers, Bengals. Steelers really let me down. They should not have lost to the Bengals in that game. In fact, I've gotten the last 3 straight Thursday night games wrong, so I don't know what's going on there. Other games, though, Jaguars, Rams. Rams seem like they're pretty good. Panthers, Jets. I mean, pick 2 bad teams to get a bad result. Chargers, Colts. I guess I have to admit it. I'm a Colts believer now. I'm sure I'm going to pick them this week and they'll lose, but I know I'm going to go ahead and go all in on the Colts here. I guess they do seem to be like a good football team. But either way, though, we've only got 13 games this week, I guess. The Lions, the Raiders, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Jaguars all in a bye. 3 less games than normal, which is awful. We need more football, not less. But it is what it is. Those teams get a well-deserved rest. On to the games this week. We'll start with the Vikings at the Chargers, the Thursday night football game. This one was probably, of all the games so far, I think probably I don't know if the toughest one. I'm taking the Chargers against my better judgment. Every time I feel like I've taken them, for the most part, I feel like they've let me down. Vikings, though, I don't know. There's not a good way. They never really should have got rid of Sam Darnold. That is really proven to be their Achilles heel this year. But I'm gonna sit with the Chargers here and think that perhaps their defense just has their way with Carson Wentz. Next game up, we've got the Bills heading to Carolina to take on the Panthers. If I'm not mistaken, and you might correct me if I'm wrong here, I think the Panthers are undefeated at home this season. They've won every single game there. But that's going to change because the Bills are going to absolutely wipe the floor with them. The Panthers are not a good football team. Honestly, I don't even know if the Bills are a good football team. I don't really know if there are any good football teams in the NFL right now. I think they're all average at best. That's like the cap right now. The top tier teams right now, they're all just average. And then you've got really, really bad teams, which that's the Panthers. So the average Bills team will obviously beat the terrible Panthers team. But Panthers, if they haven't already lost a game at home, I don't think they have. I'm not going to look it up. You have to just tell me down in the comments, if I'm wrong. But I believe the Panthers are getting their first loss at home this year. All right, next up, we've got the Bears heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Bills came off a bye week. They're going to get the win there. I think the Ravens are going to get one as well coming off the bye week. I think the Ravens needed that rest. I think they're going to come in. They're going to play. I think the Bears are one of those teams that you're going to see, like those graphics, like in the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, where playoff teams in the hunt. I think the Bears will be one of those in the hunt teams. I just don't think that they're actually ever going to get close to the playoffs. And the Ravens are going to show you that the Bears are a bad football team. So I'm taking the Ravens. Next up, we've got the Browns heading to New England to take on the Patriots. I'm just all in on the Patriots. I think they are ahead of schedule. I could see them perhaps stumbling in games they should win, maybe. But I just think they've got the coach they need. They've got the quarterback they need. They've got the defense they need. I think they beat the Browns. I don't see why they don't. So I'm just going to take the Patriots here. Not much else to say about it. Dolphins head to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Bijan Robinson may just run for 400 yards, multiple times in this game. I don't know. It's going to be an absolute slaughter. The Dolphins have rolled over. They are done for the year. They have given. They gave up 5 weeks ago, I think. They just showed up to beat the Jets. They might show up and beat the Bills. And maybe beat the Patriots and just to play spoiler, but those are the only 2 games the rest of the way that I think they even have a chance to win. In fact, I think they lose to the Jets the next time they play. I really do. But they are definitely going to lose to the Falcons here. I think the Falcons will run all over them. Bijan and Algier, they both may go for 150 or more. I'm not looking forward to seeing that box score because I think the Falcons are absolutely going to destroy the Dolphins. Giants head to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Rematch of, a Thursday night game, I think, where the Eagles stumbled against the Giants. I do not think it happens again, especially not in Philadelphia. I think we find out who the better team is here big time. I think the Eagles probably just put their foot on their necks, and the Giants won't stand a chance. This will not be close. Fairly confident the Eagles will just win in a blowout here. Jets head to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Jets still looking for their first win, but I don't think they get it here. I think Joe Flacco will be good enough with that offense to get the Cincinnati Bengals rolling through. And maybe it's a close game or something because I don't know how good the Bengals really are, but I know they're better than the Jets, who probably are the worst team in the NFL. 49ers head to Houston to take on the Texans. This was probably the next tougher one, just because The Texans, I feel like, are supposed to be a good team, but they're not really playing like. I think they're like 2-4 this year. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I feel like the Texans should be a lot better than they are. So when I see them play a team like the 49ers, who, they just can't seem to stop tripping over their own feet with injuries and stuff like that, it makes me want to take the Texans. But I'm not going to do it. I think I'm just going to stick with the 49ers. I think they are just a better team overall. I feel like the Texans I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like they should be better than they are. Buccaneers head to New Orleans to take on the Saints in an easy win here for the Buccaneers. Probably one of those games where they don't need to worry about a close one coming down to the wire. Tough game against the Lions. Now, I will say this, and I do want to look it up, and I'm going to mention this. Don't forget to remind me to mention this in the next video. Last season, there was something about teams losing the week after playing the Lions because the Lions just are so physical. So I'm picking the Buccaneers here because that's the smart pick, obviously. But it would not surprise me if the Saints at home win this game, if that's still something going on. I'll have to go and check and look, and maybe I'll do that at the end of the video when I get done with the picks here. But yeah, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. I'm going to look that up by the end of the video. So after the last pick, Commanders-Chiefs, you'll see that information, and I'm going to give you that and see if it's still holding true like it was last year, where the week after a team plays the Lions, they generally lose. I think there was some crazy stat about that last season. So keep an eye out for that. Next up, we've got the Cowboys heading to Denver to take on the Broncos. It's got to be the Broncos, right? I mean, they struggled against the Giants to a point. I mean, they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. Absolutely bonkers that. But they got to be better than the Cowboys, right? I mean, the Broncos defense just has to win this game, right? I don't know. I'm taking the Broncos, but man, I feel like this is the type of game where you take the Broncos. I feel like this is the type of game where you take the other team than the Cowboys, and then the Cowboys win. I could see that happening. But it is Broncos they're in Denver, so it's a home game for the Broncos. I think I'm just going to roll with them. Next up, we've got the Titans heading to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Here we go. Are we finally on the Colts bandwagon? I think we are. Can't see them losing to the Titans. They are just, unfortunately, a very poor team. Colts seem to be, clicking on all cylinders. Jonathan Taylor seems to be playing out of his mind. Daniel Jones seems to be a brand new man. So I don't see how the Titans can even keep this one close. So I'm going to take it with the Colts. Packers heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. I think this was the third tough one. There was 3 tough ones. Chargers winning. What was the other one? 49ers, Texans. And now this one here, Packers, Steelers. I guess maybe Cowboys, Broncos. Maybe 3 or 4 tough ones. This one's going to be tough, and I'm going to tell you why it's tough, because I think the Packers are a better football team. However, it's Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, against Aaron Rodgers, who I believe, for whatever reason, even though he probably should have seen it coming because they did the same thing with him again, to Favre, as they did with, to him again with Love, I suppose. I feel like he's going to hold a grudge here and have a chip on his shoulder, and they're going to come in here and probably beat the Packers. If this was in Green Bay, I might go the other way, but even that, I feel like I'm taking Rodgers here against a former team, and just come away with a big win. Commanders head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs Monday Night Football. If there ever was a team to pick, it probably is the Chiefs here. The Chiefs seem to be rolling, seem to be playing good football. They're at home, prime time. I wonder if the old Taylor Swift will be here or not. Who knows? I'm sure we'll see her a bunch, because why not? But I do like the Chiefs here. Commanders, I've already heard Jaden Daniels not playing even more there. It's got to be the Chiefs. If the Commanders win this game, that would be absolutely insane, but I don't see how they do. I think the Chiefs win this one quite easy. All right, and those are my picks for the week. Thank you so much for watching. If you do get a chance, please subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it. It definitely helps me out. If I picked your team to win, you should like the video, because obviously you agree with me. And if I picked your team to lose, you should leave a comment down below and tell me what kind of a moron I am. Now, if you did watch the video to this point, you know that I did look up a stat regarding the Detroit Lions. This year, teams are 3-3 the week after playing them. So not quite as bad as it was last year, where it seemed like every team that played the Lions lost their next game. So there does not appear to be the same Lions tax ongoing as it was in previous years. So I'm going to stick with my Buccaneer pick there. I think that they do still beat the Saints. Not that I would have changed it anyway at this point, but I don't see that same pattern here. So we're just going to believe that maybe the tax isn't quite as steep as it was last year for teams. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.